CJ Scarsapino here, Chief Business Officer, Streetsboro City Schools, and I'm so excited to be here with middle school principal Julie Taylor today. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you taking the time today to speak a little bit about the middle school state report card, which was excellent, by the way, 4 out of 5 star overall rating, so congratulations on that. What are some of the overall educational initiatives that help lead to that overall rating of 4 out of 5?
Well, I think it starts with building the climate and culture here. When Mr. Wepler and I took over, that was kind of our big goal, to start with that and build the relationships with the students, with the staff, and then with the community and the parents. And that leads into, then focusing on our students and their growth and their academics. And then also just bringing different activities and clubs back to the picture and just kind of making it more of a school feel and a feel that, everything is all combined and not just always academics.
And I can just tell you the culture in the building, from the music playing in the morning or to you just being out in the halls, Mr. Wepler in the cafeteria, like you could just see the difference in the culture and the smiles on kids' faces as they're coming to school every single day. In achievement, the middle school received 3 stars. What does achievement mean? Like, what does that mean in the sense of a state report card?
So it's about how kids perform. And kind of looking at them, based off their performance index is the technical term they look at. And that's looking at, a kid of overall and not just proficient, where they are and how they're growing and what their growth is. And obviously you get more points and you get more, bang for your buck when you look at the higher scores, but it's also getting every kid to grow.
And so what are you doing here at the middle school and your team doing at the middle school to help enhance those achievement scores?
Yeah, so our big thing is looking at growth of the overall kid. Not every kid's going to be proficient. Not every kid's going to have the green and the purple and the advanced and accelerated. How are these kids growing? Maybe they're growing by 2 points. Maybe they're growing by 5 points. But taking a look at the data throughout the whole school year, based off their scores from last year, and then every couple of weeks we have different scores inputted in, and looking on how they're growing and how they're succeeding, and then taking that back. My teachers taking that back to their teams and their PLCs, and working on different things like that. And then also working on our academic support period we implemented. And this is a period that, the teachers are able to group the kids based off how they want to do that as a team. And so they look at the data and look at, is this student growing? Is this student stagnant? What can we do to help them? And putting them in certain, classrooms, certain labs, certain activities, just different areas that will help them.
You said PLCs. What are PLCs?
So they're professional learning communities. Our teachers meet in them. So like I have different grade levels. First of all, they have a team meeting, which is all 6th grade, all 7th, and all 8th grade. And then I also have it based off 6th grade ELAs together, 6th grade maths together, 6th grade social studies, 6th grade science. And then they meet as a team and they work on their data and they work on their common assessments. They work on their pacing guide. They work on, this is what we're doing, this is what worked, this did not work, how can we adjust this, and move forward. And they all have different kids when they're meeting, so it's nice to look at a variety of different pictures.
Yeah. And so the data, where's that data coming from? Is that coming from, I know we implemented map testing and some other things. Where is that data coming from that's helping them determine the path?
Yeah, so we look at a variety of different resources, but the main data we're using are the state test scores, the map data, and then the centralized reporting system that the state came out with, and given the different checkpoints biweekly so that we can look to see if the students understood the standard, whether it's 2 questions, 4 questions, 5 questions, and then whether we have to reteach it or we can move on, and every teacher has to do that, especially in ELA and math, and pull those questions and see where those students are at.
Okay, that's great. And then I'm sure you see some progress from that. So let's talk about progress.
Okay.
Progress got 4 out of 5 stars here at the middle school. So what does progress look like here at the middle school?
It's really looking at the data again and digging in from previous years. So if you go back, when we first had our opening staff meeting, we go back and we look 3 years ago of our percentages on students and where we were at on passing different state tests. And then also kind of looking at the trends in the history of the kids. How are they progressing? Not every kid, like I said, is going to progress and be proficient every time. So where's their history? Maybe they were limited or basic the year before. Now they're proficient, but now we have to keep growing them and keep looking at the growth and kind of making those different strides to get to those different points, or even looking at the kids that are lower and kind of growing them and getting them to that point. But it's also looking at the history and not necessarily just the proficient kids.
So looking at the whole.
Yes.
So gap closing is another area where the middle school did well, 4 out of 5 stars, which exceed the state standard. So how have you been so successful in that area?
I think the big thing is looking at the basic skills, going back to the basics. When we were all in school, it was working on the, basic addition, multiplication,
Yep.
everything like that. So being able to go back and work on the basics that the kids are missing, whether it's basic reading, basic math skills, even just implementing those in science and social studies class as well. And then having the teachers being able to work one-on-one with their kids and utilizing our academic support periods and their placements. And so we have our middle level group of kids that don't need the intense intervention or the enrichment, and we have them work on the gap closing and work on their basic skills. How can we get them over that bubble? How can we get them to that proficient area? And based off their individualized instruction, then they'll have specific assignments that'll work just for them. So kind of keep working through that and pushing kids that way, and then also working with the lower ones to get them to push up and grow as well.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add that's going on here in general, academic success, or just in general here at Streetsboro Middle School that is going towards the positive culture and academic success of this building?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with the climate and culture and, implementing homerooms. We implemented homerooms so that, they see an adult every day. They build those relationships, whether it's one adult they have in the classroom or they don't. And then also having different competitions within the, classrooms
Oh,
and
yeah.
different, door decorating, whether it's a spirit day competition and, giving little prizes for them. So then starting with that and being able to utilize, that climate and culture aspect, because then kids do want to learn. And when they have those relationships, they want to learn. And when they know that somebody's there for them, whether it's 15 minutes a day, it might not be any of their teachers, but they know they have that relationship. So I think, my staff and my students here and, are moving in the right direction. And we're getting to a point that, Mr. Wepler and I are real excited for the future.
Big things happening here at the middle school with Miss Taylor and Mr. Wepler. It's always an exciting and fun place to be. Kids are learning and engaged. Julie, I thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Thanks.